Going to do a song for you by a friend of mine called Jim. Do you know who I talk of when I talk of a rock singer called Jim? Do you know who I'm referring to? Jim, from late 60s rock band, The Doors. You know of whom I speak? Jim Morrison. This is one of those strange groups of people that have been de-gymmed. I can feel that. This is very full of nuance. I must educate you a bit about Jim, perhaps. Jim is very in the stock market of the music scene. You know who people are buying and who they're selling. Jim is very much down the bottom because he's seen as a trashy kind of pork barreling, pork belly kind of futures market thing that only pimply, gloomy little boys like. But I love Jim for all his conviction and his pretentiousness, because that's also very poorly valued in today's stock market of the entertainment scene. People like do-gooders nowadays, like the Frantichrist and John Butler, that kind of thing, do-gooding types, But Jim wasn't a do-gooder. He died in Paris. He left the rock scene early on. He thought it was all over in 1969, and he was right. He went to Paris, and he was tired of it rained eyeballs on Jim. When I say people disappear into somebody's eye, it rained eyeballs on Jim. He was covered, an avalanche of eyeballs all over him, and it was like a gelatinous mass of gooey stuff for like kilometers around him. Where there used to be just air he was breathing, it was like this stuff called like gauze, because the eyeballs like all melted into each other, and there's bits of lashes and like kind of gooey sleep stuff, and it was gauze that was around him, and it was like gauze is like a combination of jizz and diz, and it's all dried and mashed up, reconstituted with some cum, and then it's all around you. That's what Jim was experiencing. So he's very disoriented in hell there, poor Jim. And I tell you, Jim would reach for something. When you're in hell like that, you'd reach for something to steady yourself, because he was always drunk. He had so much alcohol. He was taking gargantuan amounts of downers, uppers, and heroin as well. So he looked for something to steady himself. What would Jim Morrison reach for? He reached for his cock. You have to hang on to something when you're kind of falling over. Like reaching for a hand rub, he reached for his cock. And he wrote this poem that I'm going to read to you. Nobody else has ever done this poem except for Jim and me, yeah? So, a bit of a respectful silence here for Jim. This is from a poem he recorded in Paris in 1971, and he died. 8 years later, his comrades, The Doors, put it to music, and it's called Lament. Yeah? Lament for my cock, sore and crucified. I seek to know you, acquiring soulful wisdom. You can open walls of mystery, strip show. How to acquire death in the morning show, TV death which the child absorbs, death well mystery which makes me write, slow train, the death of my cock gives life. Forgive the poor old people who gave us entry, taught us God, in the child's prayer in the night, guitar player, ancient wires satyr, sing your ode to my cock, caress its lament, stiffen and guide us, we frozen lost cells, the knowledge of cancer to speak to the heart and give the great gift, words, power, trance, this stable friend and the beast of his zoo, wild-haired chicks, women flowering in their summit, monsters of skin. Each colour connects to create the boat which rocks the race. Could any hell be more horrible than now and real? I pressed her thigh, and death smiled. Death, old friend. Death and my cock are the world. I can forgive my injuries in the name of wisdom, luxury, romance, sentence upon sentence, words of the healing lament. For the death of my cock's spirit has no meaning in the soft fire. Words got me the wound and will get me well, if you believe it. All join now and lament the death of my cock. A tongue of knowledge in the feathered night. Boys get crazy in the head and suffer. I sacrifice my cock on the altar of silence.